Hey, Austin here. Have you ever wondered why some houses tend to sit on the market months and months and months at a time and just can't seem to catch any bites? Well, I'm gonna talk to you today about the top 5 reasons about why that tends to happen and what you can do if your house checks any of those boxes. Now, before we dive in, remember, pretty much any house can be sold for the right price. But there can be things that can make it much more difficult to get it sold and or sold for the price you want. So we're gonna go over those top 5 things today, and in order for you to avoid some of these traps, or if you're already there, what you can do to get over it. Now, the first reason is an awkward layout. It can really make or break the appeal for a buyer to move forward with an offer. Now, I'm talking about these homes where you walk in and it's the front door, you expect it to be, I don't know, a living room, a family room, maybe an entryway, and instead you're met with the entrance to the basement or a bedroom right there. It can be really off-putting, and that can make it really difficult to get it sold. So you just gotta be prepared to adjust the price appropriately when it comes to that. Number 2 is an unappealing location. So you gotta think about proximity. Where is your home to everything else? Are you really close to, say, maybe a train line or maybe a fire whistle? Some buyers might not like that simply because of the noise. Or maybe you live in a nice city like Milford, but you're on the west side of town all the way from the hospital. So the perk of being close to the hospital really isn't appealing for those buyers. So you gotta think about it from their perspective, both now and if they were to sell it in the future. It can make it difficult for them to want to put an offer in if those things just don't make sense. Number 3, no basement or no attic. Now, coming here as a Delaware boy, I can tell you most homes have a basement or at least an attic for storage. It's super helpful. But if your home doesn't have that, it can make it really hard to get somebody to want to bite and put an offer in, especially if your home is on the smaller size. In part, we all seem to, I don't know, accumulate a lot of knickknacks, paddywhacks, all that stuff. And so when we move, we've got to store that stuff somewhere. Where else should you do it than the basement or the attic? And if you don't have that, where are you gonna put it? In a spare bedroom, if you have the room at that point, or maybe the garage, but that might not be good for long-term storage. And so because of that, when you don't have a basement or an attic, can make it really difficult to get your home sold. Number 4, not having a garage, or just having a detached garage even. Let's talk about that. So let's say your house doesn't have a garage. Well, that can be problematic. Delaware is a 4-season state, so most people like to keep their car inside the garage during the hottest days of the summer and the coldest days of the winter. Makes sense, want to keep the car protected. And if you don't have a garage, that's not possible. Or if your house is on the smaller size, nowhere to store things, like you don't have a basement, don't have an attic, well, now if you don't have a garage, you just completely eliminated any additional storage that that potential home buyer would want or need. But let's say you do at least have a detached garage. You kind of solve the not having a place to store things. But depending on where that detached garage is on the property, it can still not be a huge appeal to some people, especially if you gotta get dressed up in the morning to go to work, and well, now you've gotta walk through the rain or walk through the snow to get to your car. While having that garage is a plus, well, it only partly solved your problem. You still kind of deal with some of the annoying parts too. So not having a garage is not helpful, but having a detached garage can only be a little helpful too. Number 5 is deferred maintenance and updates to the house. Let's talk maintenance and problems with the house first. Let's say you have issues with your septic, with your roof, with your HVAC system. If those things aren't up to compliance, well, the buyer might not even be able to finance the purchase of the house. So now you've turned away a lot of buyers, and obviously that's gonna make it harder to get the home sold. But let's say they don't need to be replaced. Just major updates, issues with them. If you don't have the funds available or aren't able to make those repairs prior to settlement, that might turn away some buyers, because at that point, they've got to be prepared to put all that money into the house, and buying a house in the first place is a bit expensive. So that's likely gonna not make them wanna move forward with an offer. But let's even talk about updates. There are definitely some houses out there that are a bit stuck in the 70s, maybe 80s even. A buyer walks in, they're expecting an HGTV style house. It just is what it is. And when your house doesn't match what they're looking for, HGTV style, they're gonna likely just move on to the next, especially if it's gonna take tens of thousands of dollars to get that house updated to look like that. With that in mind, I do have a video that goes over how to get some of those updates in the least expensive way. You can take a peek at that video right there. Now, here's the big takeaway. Pretty much all of these issues can be overcome by being priced correctly. It's all about compromise. If you price too high, well, it's gonna turn buyers away and you won't get it sold. But if you price it just right, you turn that house from being something that a buyer doesn't want and it's just gonna be pouring money in their pockets to a deal too good to let go, and you have buyers competing for your house, getting you the most money possible at that point. As a bonus tip, there are two things beyond all of this that can affect the house getting sold and sold for a certain price. Those two things are quality photography and effective marketing. I'm sure you've been on Zillow before and you see some houses, looks like they were taken with, I don't know, a Motorola Razr from the early 2000s, just poor quality, doesn't make the house look good at all, even if it's gorgeous on site, along with making sure the interior of the house looks nice. It's cleaned up, right? Maybe a good idea to hire a home cleaning service so the house sparkles, getting the exterior of the house cleaned up as well, along with making sure you're working with an agent that knows how to market your house appropriately and to the specific type of buyer that's likely to purchase your house. And, well, able to do it with a house that may have a couple challenges as well. And there you have it, the top 5 reasons why a house won't sell. With these reasons, which do you think would be the toughest to overcome? And if you're looking to sell your house and make the most money for it, you might want to work with an agent and a team that's here dedicated to you. If you're curious about making that one happen, we would be more than happy to serve you. Take a peek below. My contact information is listed there. And if you want to know about more of these awesome videos as they come out, go and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell so you know the day it gets posted. With that in mind, hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon.